Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is that time again. We are going to go over the March budget. Feel like I just did this. Oh, that's right. I just did. I just filmed our February second half of our budget just last week. So take a look at that. But it's now time for March. It's already March. Can you believe it? We just did our budget meeting time, and our budget is good to go for the first 2 weeks of March. This budget is a pretty normal budget for us. We don't have any big expenses like we had last month. Our paychecks are pretty normal for us. There's not anything like huge and extra like we had in our last budget. So this is a great example of just a normal budget where we're able to make some progress. It's not huge progress, but it's progress. And we're also able to fit in some time to just kind of live a little, some money to live a little. And we are still learning what that's like in our debt freedom. So it kind of changes our budget each month depending on kind of how we're feeling and what we feel like we need slash want. Before we get started, if you're new here, my name is Allison. This is all about how my husband Aaron and I paid off $125,000 worth of debt. We used this budget that I'm about to go over to pay off all of that debt. So we budget twice a month, every month, and we tell every dollar we earn where to go. There's a purpose for every dollar we earn. That is our zero-based budget. So every dollar is accounted for, even a buffer. So zero-based budget does not mean that we don't have any money in our account, that it's at $0. No, it means that every dollar is accounted for. There are $0 that don't have a name. Everything has a name. Feel free to take a look around my channel, look at some of the things that I have posted, and if you like what I post, please consider subscribing and also turning on your notifications for my videos so you don't miss anything. I will be posting the second half of our March budget, as well as lots of other things coming up in the month of March. Okay, now that's all out of the way, let's get started taking a look at the March budget. Here we are back at our monthly budget for March 2019. I will start by going over our budget down here at the bottom. Zoom in so you can actually see it if you're watching on your phone. So once again, we have 2 paychecks per month. This budget breakdown will be for this area right here where both Aaron and I are paid, and then we will have another budget halfway through the month on about the 15th when Aaron gets paid. So I get paid once a month, Aaron gets paid twice a month. So that is why we do 2 different budgets. Our budget changes each time we do it depending on what's coming up and what expenses we have. So we go through all of the categories and all of our bills to decide what we need that month. So this month is a pretty typical month for us. Aaron makes commission as well as salary, and so he kind of had a lower commission month this month. So his paycheck is it's a little lower than average, I guess I would say. And then mine is just normal. So we have both of our incomes up here in green. Those are added together. And then all of our bills and expenses down below are taken from that. As you can see at the beginning of the month, we have a lot more expenses than we do the second half of the month, and that's just because we kind of front load everything since our income is much higher at the beginning of the month. So as we go through here, the top items are our bills that all come out through auto pay. So we have our mortgage, our electricity, our gas bill, our garbage bill, our internet, and then our car insurance. So all of those things are auto pay. They are color-coded white because they just automatically come out. They are done. Next is our cell phone bill. That is money that we send to my mom. We are on my mom's plan, so we just transfer money over to her every month for our portion of the phone bill. Next, all of these things here in red are things that need to be transferred to a different account. So we'll go through each of those. This one right here, these are Aaron's business expenses and his business coaching that he has. Then we have our gas money, both of our personal money. So we each got $80 in personal money this time around. That kind of varies depending on how that month is going. If it feels like a lower month, then we will maybe budget less. Like if last month we had a lot more expenses, so I think we budgeted $60 each. This month felt a little bit better, so we did $80 each. Then we have miscellaneous. That's for things that come up that we didn't expect or things that don't really fit into the budget. So miscellaneous is 40. And then random transfer, that's just anything else that needs to be transferred to a different account. We just put under there, that's kind of a miscellaneous category. Sometimes it's zero, sometimes we have something. As you can see, this month we transferred $60 to our car maintenance savings account, and that's just for any sort of car things that might come up. It actually, we ended up using $42 of this 60 on a oil filter sale that Aaron found, so most of that is actually already gone. Next is our cash envelopes, $560. I'll come back to that. Cat supplies, normally we get cat food delivery once a month, but we're actually doing really good on the cat food right now, so we're going to wait and probably get that on the 15th. Then we have our giving category. This is something that we added to our budget after we became debt free. So we've done small giving here and there, but we wanted to start budgeting for it every month to just have a giving category so we can give whenever something comes up. So we put $40 into that giving category there. We have a savings account that we don't really have a use for, so we are going to start using that as our giving sinking fund kind of in a savings account. So we just did $40 this month to just kind of start off there. Since this is our first month that we really don't have anything coming up, we're not buying a new car, we're not budgeting for taxes or our trip to Nashville, it finally feels like, okay, we can start fitting in some of these things like our giving that we have been wanting to add in. Next here is random spent. So that kind of accounts for anything that we spend money on before we write our budget. We try to write our budget the night of our payday, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. Or we will go out to eat the night of our payday, and then we just work that into the budget here. This time around, we actually didn't write our budget until 2 days after we were paid, so that kind of gave us a little bit too much time to spend money, but we also had some other expenses come up. Our cat, Ivy, right here, she is going through some health things, and we had a vet appointment for her that was actually the day of payday, so that it didn't really fit into the budget anywhere else, so we just put it under random spent. We bought a birthday gift for our neighbors, that's under here, and then we went out to dinner as well. So $265 is what we spent between the time that we got paid and the time we did this budget. Aaron's birthday is coming up in March, so obviously that's not something that we normally have in our budget, but we started discussing this month that we have not done birthday events in the entire time that we have been becoming debt free. We've just kind of had our birthday and done something small, and we decided, now is time that we can fit in a little something for our birthday. So Aaron said he felt like $250 was reasonable. Since since getting our finances together, we have not done any birthday stuff. So we didn't really know what was reasonable. What is $40 reasonable? Is $500 reasonable? We don't know. So Aaron felt like $250 would either give him some sort of gift that he might want, or if we wanted to go somewhere for the night, we could fit that into there. We're not sure what we are going to do with that $250. It's up to Aaron at this point, but we have it in our budget. So it's our first budgeted for kind of bigger birthday event. Then finally, our buffer of $28, and that buffer kind of changes each month depending on what that remaining amount is down here. So because it was $1,628 remaining, we made our buffer $28, so we were able to put $1,600 into savings. That is what we transferred into savings. So I'm going to scroll up and we're going to go over our cash envelope categories. So that is this section in here that says monthly spending. So we do have gas under here, and that's just so we can track how much we spend on gas at each point in the month. The beginning of January, we budgeted a lot for gas, and that has actually helped us. We haven't had to budget very much for gas because we still kind of have a cushion in our gas account. That's not a cash category. That is a separate checking account that we have for our gas expenses, but we like to track it here. So from here on out, these are all of our cash categories. So groceries, $360. We usually budget more at the beginning of the month for groceries because once again, it's our bigger payday. We get our more expensive bulk items at the beginning of the month, and then halfway through the month, we just replenish. Next is non-edible grocery. These are things like toilet paper, paper towels, dish soap, those kinds of things. Things that you buy at the grocery store that you don't eat. So we call that non-edible grocery. We like to differentiate. So when things come up, like we need to buy toilet paper, paper towels, and laundry soap, that's a pretty expensive month. And I don't like for that to come out of our grocery money. So we just have a separate category for that. We're actually doing pretty good on our non-edible grocery stuff. As you can see, in February, we spent a fair amount kind of stocking up on things. So we don't anticipate needing anything during this pay period. So we just put $20 in there just to be safe. Pet care, we actually have a pretty good fund built up right now in our cash envelopes. We will be cash flowing some pet expenses for our cat Ivy, and down here, as I mentioned, is where we buy our cat food in a subscription. So this is just for other pet expenses that come up, litter, if we want to buy a toy, those kinds of things. But we're doing pretty good there, so we didn't put anything in there. Restaurant, we spent before we even did our budget, so that's zero. Car maintenance, we have a car maintenance checking account, but we also have this savings or this cash envelope category as well that we keep some money in. But since we transferred that $60 and Aaron didn't anticipate anything else, we just put nothing there. Home maintenance, we are starting to budget for our garden this year. We are going to be building a updated garden in our backyard, and so because we know that that's a project that we want to do, we are fitting that into home maintenance as kind of a sinking fund. So we just started with $60. Next, we have a couple events coming up for family, so we budgeted $60 here for gift. We like to keep a pretty good cushion in our clothing money because you never know when something's going to come up and you need to go buy something. So we budgeted $60 here for clothing, and then everything else is zero. Upcoming expenses is the category that's kind of like our miscellaneous, that we don't have specifically a certain item. It's just anything that's come up that doesn't fit into our other categories. Christmas, we haven't started saving for yet. I don't know when we're gonna feel the need to start saving for Christmas, but we just don't feel the urge right now. So we might just cash flow it as it gets closer. And then work expenses, sometimes I put things in there for my personal work, but this month, actually so far this year, I haven't spent anything on my work expenses category. So all of that adds up and comes down here to $560 in cash. And we got that cash out today. So everything here is done. Check, check, check. We transferred $1,600 into our savings account. And that was exciting because that $1,600 got us to over $10,000 in our savings, which is super exciting. Up here at the very top of the spreadsheet, this is our tracker. So we track what has come out and what hasn't come out. Our mortgage already came out and our insurance already came out. Huh, look at this. This is grayed out right here. That means we don't actually have a garbage bill this month. And I forgot to take it out of the budget down below. So we paid garbage last month, and this actually needs to be 0. Huh. So how does that change our budget down here? Come on. So that gave us an extra $54 that I forgot to account for because I didn't change our garbage bill. So I'm going to transfer another $54 to savings because if I leave that in there, we will spend it. And I'm not going to let that happen. So, hey, good for me for graying out these boxes at the beginning of the year. So when I set up this spreadsheet, I grayed out every other month of our garbage bill. Everything else here you can see has not come out yet. So as they start coming out of our checking account, we will add them here. That way we can kind of track what needs to come out and what has already come out and just staying on top of our bills. So that's what that is for. And then finally, all the way over here is where we keep track of how much we've put into emergency savings. So far we've put $1,600 in there. And so our year is doing pretty well. This is just what we've been able to save in 2019. We have a little bit more than that because we had a little left over from 2018, but we are moving right along. So that is our March 2019 budget, zero-based budget. It's looking like it's going to be a good month. We have bulked up our savings and we are ready to rock and roll. So I'll see you guys next time at the second half of the March budget, where we will go over what we're able to save next. See ya.